It's a beautiful country, no question. It's very colorful, but you have to admit that Oz seems wildly unstable. You've got wicked witches pretty much running the east and west. Then there's Glinda the Good Witch, who's all powerful but doesn't do anything about the rampaging flying monkeys. And then there are the three menacing dudes in the Lollipop Guild whose only job seems to be giving visitors giant lollipops. It's not clear where they stand exactly. So if you live in that confusing environment and you manage to build a tin man who is autonomous and can chop wood and sing and dance, you can be forgiven for forgetting to include a heart. There's a lot going on. However, there's no excuse for letting him rust. A scene from The Wizard of Oz in which a human girl and a sentient alien scarecrow lubricate a bipedal robot with milk. A handful of Oz cans were used in the making of that movie, and now one of those rare items is going up for auction. It's the one that was presented to actor Jack Haley, who played the Tin Man, after the shoot was over. It's hard to tell how much he would have appreciated that because apparently he hated having a bunch of stuff glued to his face, and he also didn't like the severe eye infection the silver makeup gave. Bidding for the oil can will start at $50,000 US, but it's expected to go for $200,000. And if you win that item that was so important to the Tin Man, don't just lock it away somewhere. Let people see it. I mean, come on, have a heart. Here's Future Islands with Tin Man. And I'm Chris Howard.
This is CBC Radio 1, 90.3 FM in Elliott Lake. Hi, it's Marcus Schwami from Morning North. Still working from my basement at home in Sudbury. And even though our reporters are mostly working from home, we're still reaching out, covering the news, sharing stories from around northeastern Ontario. Join me from 6 to 8:30 weekday mornings for the latest, the news you need to start your day. That's on Morning North on CBC Radio 1 in Northern Ontario. I'm Ian Hammonds. Tonight on the National, chemical weapons. Russia is accusing the United States of making them in Ukraine. The Americans call that a lie. Is this a Russian pretext for using chemical weapons against Ukrainian forces? Join us for the National tonight at 10:30 in Newfoundland on CBC and CBC Gen. From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Kaz Bovan. The U.S. and Ukraine are denying accusations from Russia that they're developing biological and chemical weapons. That comes after Moscow called a special UN Security Council meeting today. Russia made the claims but provided no evidence. William Denslow has more from New York.
Russian officials claim that Kiev, with the support of the US, are developing biological weapons and testing them on bats and migratory birds. Speaking at the United Nations Security Council meeting, Russia's UN ambassador said Moscow had proof of 30 biological labs engaging in very dangerous experiments. In a formal document, the ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, dismissed the claims. She warned this is a potential false flag operation by Russia, adding that it could be planning to use chemical weapons in Ukraine.
There are no Ukrainian biological weapons laboratories supported by the United States, not near Russia's border or anywhere.
Ukraine's representative told council members it's in full compliance with international obligations and described Russia's assertions as insane delirium. William Denslow, for CBC News, New York.
Ukraine says technicians have begun repairing damaged power lines at the former Chernobyl nuclear power plant. The decommissioned facility lost its power supply 2 days ago. Russian forces captured the site on the same day the Russian invasion began. Ukraine's nuclear power agency says more diesel fuel is being delivered there to help sustain backup generators. In Ukraine, Russian forces are changing their tactics. Thousands of residents have fled their hometowns and cities for the relative safety of western Ukraine, but now Russia is widening its attacks and expanding its list of airstrike targets. Jessica Gallagher reports from Lviv.
Two cities, one north and one south of Lviv, were hit with Russian missiles today. Lutsk and Ivano-Frankivsk are home to military airports. Another city in the center of the country, Dnipro, was struck by Russian forces. A shoe factory, kindergarten, and apartment blocks were damaged. The strikes have military experts concerned that the previously safe haven of the West is now in jeopardy. This as the more than 40-kilometer-long convoy of Russian vehicles northwest of Kyiv has dispersed. Satellite footage shows that the vehicles have moved to cover, including forest and other populated areas. Analysts believe that this will give the Kremlin time to regroup and change course, leading to a potential assault on the capital. For CBC News, I'm Jessica Gallagher in Lviv.
The Indian military says it accidentally fired a missile into Pakistan earlier this week. The Defense Ministry blamed the launch on a technical mishap during routine maintenance. It says it will be conducting a high-level inquiry into the incident. Pakistani officials say the missile was unarmed and crashed near the country's eastern city of Mayanchanu, about 500 kilometers from Islamabad. No injuries were reported. The family of Saudi blogger Raif Badawi says he's been released after serving 10 years in prison. He was jailed for criticizing religious figures and promoting liberal views of Islam. But as Justin Hayward reports, it's not clear when he'll be able to see his family here in Canada.
In Sherbrooke, Quebec, Raif Badawi's wife, Ensaf Haidar, is wearing a wide smile. He called me this morning to say he was signing the release papers, she says. Haidar's been at the forefront of 10 years of political pressure calling for his release. La Québécois MP Alexis Brunel-Dissat has repeatedly pled Badawi's case in the House of Commons.
I think Ensaf Haidar told the world right now, never give up, always fight.
Amnesty International says the conditions of Badawi's release are not yet clear. Saudi Arabia has imposed a travel ban on Badawi of another 10 years. The organization is calling for the travel ban to be dropped so he would be able to join his wife and 3 children in Quebec. Justin Herbert, CBC News, Montreal.
That is your World This Hour. For CBC News, I'm Kaz Bovan.
Taking a look at the forecast to the northeast, a chance of flurries for West Nipissing, Northbay, and Temiskaming Shores tonight. For the rest of the region, flurries or light snow between 2 to 4 centimeters expected. Overnight lows between minus 13 and minus 21. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow for Wawa, Sault Ste. Marie, and Manitoulin. Periods of snow for communities in the northern part of the region, and cloudy with a chance of flurries for the rest of the northeast. Daytime highs from minus 8 to minus 15.
Hello again and welcome back. I'm Jillian Finlay.
And I'm Chris Allen. This is As It Happens, the Friday edition, part 2. Coming up,
Long odds. A New Jersey man who spent years restoring the world's longest car, complete with putting green, helicopter pad, and swimming pool, says you really have to see it to believe it. Driving it, though, is a whole other story.
appetite for destruction. As Putin's invasion of Ukraine rages on, people are feeling the effects as far away as Egypt, where our guest says the war has begun affecting the price of bread and other daily staples.
And fruitful collaboration. We'll hear from a man who found an ancient Coast Salish war club in his backyard garden. And a chief from the First Nation, he returned it to him.
Stay tuned. Tech entrepreneurs are fleeing Russia. Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine and his crackdown on the free flow of information have led to stories of a brain drain featuring chartered jets and last-minute rentals in Dubai. Ilya Krasilchik is the CEO of the Russian grocery delivery startup Yandex. He was in Moscow until 10 days ago. Then he packed his bags and headed for the airport. We reached Mr. Krasilchik tonight in Tbilisi, Georgia.
Ilya, tell me about that moment as you boarded the plane.